Talking with famous people.
Oh, hello. And welcome to Talking with Famous People. I'm host Eric. And with me tonight, I have famous person, Paul?
Paul.
Paul, correct. I remembered your name. And I have had a brief conversation with him outside about unrelated matters to personality typing. I've mentioned to him that we do a lot of that on the channel. And I thought I'd ask him some type questions, and he's agreeable, so here we go. I usually begin these, Paul, with the question, if you were to have a choice of how to spend an evening, you had a choice of spending it by yourself, with one other person, two other people, or three or more other people, which of those choices?
Two or more? Only two or more?
No. Zero
One.
others,
Zero?
one other, two others, or more than two others.
Two others.
Okay. Pretend you're walking in the middle of a salt lake or a dry lake bed. Mm-hmm. There's nothing to see anywhere. It's just the same every direction. And you're walking for about 15-20 minutes. What's going on in your head?
It's hot. I'm using the elements of the horizon to kind of gauge my distance. And I'm assuming there's some kind of destination. So if I'm walking just on this, dry riverbed, I assume I'm going somewhere. I'm probably thinking mostly about that and the heat. And also in those moments, I like to think about the different ways parts of my body are feeling moving through those, through the air, the feeling of the ground on my feet.
Okay. In general, as a general rule, if given the choice, would you prefer more certainty regarding what's going to happen in the plan and everything, or more flexibility regarding how to implement it?
More certainty with what's going to happen with the planet, or more flexibility with what we can do to change?
I'm just saying, would you rather have a plan that's well-defined and executed more or less according to the plan, or would you rather have more flexibility and be able to make more decisions along the process?
More flexibility, easily.
Are you somebody who forgets small items sometimes, leaves them at home, that sort of thing, or you keep good track of your own shit?
Sometimes I forget stuff, but I never lose things.
Okay. Do you believe you read the emotions of other people well?
Moderately. That's kind of vague. Or not vague, but it's sometimes yes, sometimes no. Sometimes I feel it's obvious, and other times I'm very surprised by my reading of the situation versus the reality of someone's feelings.
Okay. How comfortable do you feel with directing a team of people to complete a complex task? If your job were to delegate out the various components of that task to the various people and give them instructions on how to proceed.
I guess pretty comfortable. I do that at work sometimes.
Okay. Do you self-identify as introverted or extroverted?
That's a good one. Neither. I used to be I used to identify as an introvert. Definitely don't identify as somebody who's extremely extroverted, but I'm somewhere kind of in between.
Okay.
I go back and forth.
In general, if you spend, let's say, 8 hours in a setting where, maybe you don't ever do this, but in a setting where a lot of people are talking to you, there's a lot of engagement, but not with the same person, with a lot of different people. Mm-hmm. By the end of that period, are you hyped up or tired out?
I guess hyped up. Yeah, I usually need a little bit of time to rest and chill out and relax after that.
Okay. How comfortable... Okay, when you experience an emotion, like, say, crying or something, Does it come upon you all of a sudden, or does it? Do you realize you're sad, and then you're living with the sadness, and at some point it builds up to a little bit to a crying, and then they slowly resolve. Do emotions come quick and leave quick, or do they come slow and leave slow?
I think that's changed over time.
Do you hold grudges?
No. No. I feel like when I was younger, emotions would come on slower and leave slower. And as I'm older, it's more surprising. And it's more of like a loss of control or it's more of like, I'm out of my regular scheduled program. But then it usually leaves pretty quickly.
How solid do you feel your own past is in your head? Like, how clear of a grasp of your life story do you have? And the events that occurred in it and stuff like that?
Like my memory of them?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I have a general idea, but I don't have like a lot of specifics. And I don't write them down.
Okay, so do you feel as though, does it matter much to you?
What?
How solid your past is? Like how much you keep track of life you've lived already?
Mostly no. I feel like it's important I feel like documentation's important, but the fact that I may or may not remember things, I'm alright with. Because it's all eventually going to go.
Okay. Do you think truth is discovered or created?
Truth?
Yeah.
I feel like that's a vague question. What do you define as truth?
I think that's a fine answer. Okay, next question is the troll question.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're back in the Middle Ages now, or sometime like that, when they have horses and knights and people with swords and stuff like that. And there's a village. You live in the village, and in fact, you're the mayor of the village. Or something like that. Somebody who makes the decisions and is the leader type person. At any rate, the village is split into by a river. On the east side of the river are all the people. On the west side of the river is all the food. Okay? I'm sorry. On the east side of the river, half the people. On the west side of the river, half the people. On the west side of the river is all the food, though. And the farmers on the west side of the river need to get the food over to the people on the east side of the river. There's a bridge, so they go across the bridge. A storm comes, it washes out the bridge. It's the beginning of winter. They need to have a certain amount of food. Let's say 100 tons. And they need to make it last all through winter and feed everybody in the village. Now once the bridge washes away, a troll comes to live. And the troll says, he didn't say anything, he had the magic power. Anybody who's crossing the river with food, he'll take 10% of that food. And they have enough food to make it through the winter for everybody, plus a small cushion. But if they have to pay him 10% of all their food, some of the people will starve. What do you do?
You move the people to the other side of the river.
So you want to move the people who are on the side of the river without food to the other side of the river?
Because then you don't have to pay the tax. You just move the people instead of the food.
Okay, that's the third person, I think, who came up with that answer. There got lots of different answers for this, right? And the fastest ever, by far. I mean, I didn't know that when I came up with the question, I didn't even have any answers in mind. I was just like, I just came up with the question.
Uh-huh.
Right? So you figured that out right away. Can you describe to me your thought process?
Well, if you have to move, he only affects things if there's no penalty for moving people across the river. The troll's like chilling.
Okay.
But
Do you think if I had done a better job of positioning it, of like trying to hide that element, did I do a poor job of trying to hide it? It felt like I did more or less the same job as usual, but maybe I did a poor job of it. I don't know.
I was just like listening to all the things you were saying. I was just like looking for all the different like.
Okay, let's point something out though. The problem you're going to have here is to feed these people. You've got to move them across the river 3 times a day. All the people from one side to the other. And like, if you want to have 3 meals a day, and if you only want to go 2 meals a day, that's okay. You can do that. It's still a lot of energy being exerted. And in fact, what you discover after a couple weeks of this is that they're eating a little bit too much because they're consuming too many calories. And you're probably only going to lose like 2 or 3 people to starvation, but it looks like you're going to lose a few now. So the troll's still causing you to lose food now. They're just from a different mechanism. And avoiding him stealing your food doesn't solve the problem of the transportation, food increased consumption from calories. So what's your second solution?
So you can go like the direct route and get rid of the troll.
Okay, so kill the troll's an option, let's say.
Kill the troll, trick the troll. I mean, kill the troll is probably the most direct.
Okay.
I would say devise a plan to sneak food around the troll.
Okay, no, but hold on. But you gotta go through these one at a time. Let's say, you said kill the troll. So, first reality is, the troll's quite big and looks to be powerful. You'll probably lose a couple of guys. You'll probably be able to get him. You'll probably lose a couple of guys. Okay, if you try to kill him. So, you may choose that route anyway. And you say, okay, well, it's going to cost a couple of guys, so be it, let's kill the troll. And some people make that choice at this point. Are you one such person?
Well, so here's the deal. You've got, okay, so it's wintertime, we established, right?
And, yeah, and you can't rebuild the bridge until spring.
Yeah, but it's wintertime until it's a river. So, where I grew up, there was a river, and during the river time, or the wintertime, the river becomes an ice lake. So you can cross it. So if you've got a single troll where they're normally...
But this river doesn't become an ice lake. The reason you can't rebuild it until spring is because during the winter it becomes a torrential river, where it becomes too powerful.
Okay.
So it makes it really hard to cross the river.
Okay, so you still have to deal with this troll. I mean... I guess, like, if you could try to reason with the troll...
Okay, so you go up and try to reason with the troll. Well, I mean... maybe you should try to think of it from my perspective. I'm a troll. I'm endowed with a magical power to get food this way. This is how I harvest food. This is how I create food. It's the only means I have. Now, I notice that you have a sandwich on you, don't you? Not anymore. You have 90% of a sandwich now. Okay? If you'd like to go to the shore and come back again, I can take another 10%.
Magical power trolls.
That's his reasoning with you so far. You gonna try to continue reasoning with him, or do you want to take a different approach?
I mean, if I'm established as the mayor of the city, or
you're the main guy, more or less.
I'm the dude. I'm in charge of all these people.
You have fiat.
At that point, you definitely have to start trying to kill the troll, because it's like, at that point you have to. It's like the same thing that we go through here, like, or any other country in the the bullshit where it's like, well, they're other humans, but they're other humans that have other interests, so we're different humans, and we create these lines.
Okay, look, the only reason I'm asking you this next question is because you've gotten a couple of solvencies without any difficulty, particularly. How many different ways can you solve this? Can you find other ways to solve it without killing the troll?
Yeah.
Alright, what else could you come up with? I can think of 3 others I've heard, or 4, or something like that.
How big is the? But you said magical power.
Okay, but it doesn't mean infinite magical power. There are limits. You can choose to test those limits if you want.
So then you've got like physical stuff. So it's like maybe you can like set up a situation where you're like thrown, like You're launching stuff over.
Right, catapult guy. Okay, that's another one. That's the rare one that you've come up with. Okay, what else? This is remarkable, frankly. But let's see.
Let's see. Troll, river, food, people.
I guess I usually don't give people this many chance. I should try to see how many people will come up with. Most people, it takes them a while to come up with a couple of them, you know?
You can send some farmers over. Oh wait, no, you can't grow anything. There's finite amounts of food. Finite amounts of food.
Mm-hmm.
People on one side, people on the other. Can't kill the troll. I guess you could. You could attempt to trap the troll, which then is kind of the same thing as killing him.
Sure.
But he's not dead.
More, I think the other solutions that I've heard that seem meaningful involve splitting up the people along the shore and sending them. So
sending some of the people.
Take all 500 people. And the one earlier tonight, a guy tested with. He sort of stumbled upon the idea, and I kind of encouraged him to test it out. And he's like, well, you line up all 500 people along the shore, and each of them carries one piece of food across, but very small, to test to see what's the limit of the guy's magical power, you know? The reasoning thing, people quit the reasoning angle right away. As soon as they get rebuffed once, they quit talking to the guy. They haven't actually said something like, well, okay, I hear you, troll, but you actually sound like quite a reasonable person. And what you don't seem to be understanding is, if you must survive on 10% of stolen food, then it doesn't necessarily mean you have to steal 10% of every food that crosses here. You know, I mean, do you really need that much food? Are you really eating all that food? But of course, I don't know. Most people, there's a lot of assumptions built. The whole problem is that there's assumptions built into it that
he's a troll. He's a troll. Everybody's thinking fucking troll.
Right. Oh, the other thing is people try to pay the tax right away. A lot of people try to pay it right away, and I say, well, did you try to pay it right away?
If you pay right away.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, but they don't find that out until they try to pay it.
Yeah, you said that you said in the beginning if the...
Okay, I shouldn't say that in the beginning. That's me fucking up. I'm supposed to wait until you say,
I'm looking
pay
for
the tax.
angles, man.
I'm supposed to wait until you say pay the tax. Anyway, impressive. Good job. Interesting. Typing you, huh?
What?
Typing you is interesting. So, okay. How do you feel about hierarchy in general?
Societal hierarchy?
What's the hierarchy at work like? You know, do you respect the chain of command and try to get try to be a responsible employee and get the stuff you're told to be done and respect the rules and stuff like that?
I did a couple months ago. I got in trouble for insubordination. But I believe that I like working in a company. I like working. I think that, there are things that need to be done and people can do things and someone else has a need for something you can do.
Well, you said you used to be more extroverted than you are now?
More introverted.
You used to be more introverted.
Super introvert. Like super mega introvert at some point in time.
When you were super introverted, what did you do to assuage your lonely periods?
What?
When you were super introverted, what did you do to assuage the slight discomfort, at least, of your lonely moments?
Didn't really have them that much. I spent a lot of time alone for a long time.
I never felt lonely at all?
Mostly didn't. Slight desire, desire for some things, but not, deep longing or anything like that.
What did you do during that alone time?
Played music, learned how to program.
What instruments do you play?
Um,
Or what kind of... Tell me about your musical production.
Right now, less so. I quit the last band I was in maybe 8 months ago. But I just started playing drums again. I got a new drum set and I've been playing drums.
You're a drummer?
That's probably that's probably what I identify most as. I play drums. I started playing guitar and trumpet when I was younger first. Trumpet didn't last very long, but I played guitar for a bunch of years. Lately, the last band I was in, I was playing bass. But at this point, like, musically, it's just kind of just like, it's like I generally know the sound palette, so it's like whatever instrument I can physically play. It's usually like some kind of physical battle of like being able to like play whatever I'm trying to like express. So it's like I kind of have a general idea of like what I'm trying to express, but maybe I can't play this instrument, but I can play this instrument.
Well, it's like with fish people it is. Are you thinking what I'm thinking? I gotta say it. INTP? It's gotta be. Right? Do you know? Do you have any? You dismissed the model, huh?
I'm not a fan of personality types.
Do you dismiss the cognitive function model?
I'm a big fan of multiple intelligences. And
okay. Well, it's more or less an equivalent to the cognitive function model in terms of its basic core mechanism. But go ahead, explain what you're going to say about it. Sorry to interrupt you.
It's like it's hard. Like I said, like I don't think of myself as There are times like I'll go into certain situations currently and just be very quiet and think about a lot of stuff by myself. But at the same time, I will go into situations and talk to a lot of people and be maybe the life of the party, and that's a very extroverted like trait.
Right.
But I also have very introverted like tendencies, so it's like
okay. Well, let me explain about the type according to the model.
Mm-hmm.
The model says your dominant function introverted thinking, which
Mm-hmm.
means that according to my understanding of the model, there's a proportional thing, which is about 8 times as often as you approach a problem in life through any other means, you're going to approach it through analytical thought processes.
sure.
The second function would be extroverted intuition, which is a perceiving function that says it's a possibility generating function. So you'd be comfortable doing improvisational stuff, at least in music, and probably speaking. You're comfortable and relaxed in front of the camera, and you don't feel the need to have a plan going into things. You prefer flexibility, right?
Yeah.
And your third slot as an INTP would be SI, which is keeping track of shit function. And it's not bad because it's in the third slot. It's not great, it's not bad, right? And it's also sort of managing your own past and how you deal with that and how you handle that shit.
Uh-huh.
And your fourth slot, you got extrovert feeling, which is the function that allows you to feel as though you understand the emotional relationships between people, which is to say it's your weakest spot, and you feel least successful when you're engaging in that part of life, the extroverted feeling part, which is to say other people's emotions. Other people's emotions cause you difficulty, but it's still part of your cognitive function conscious stack, so it's something that's on your team.
Mm-hmm.
It's something you care about. Mm-hmm. For me, my weak spot is SI. It's the organization thing, so I'm a complete fucking mess.
Mm-hmm.
My shit's all over the place. And anyway, that's what the model says about INTPs. I think that descriptor fits you because, remember, this model, the 8 cognitive functions, it says everybody uses all 8.
Mm-hmm.
They use them consciously as values, some of them. They're perspectives. They're not like sort of little machines in your brain or whatever. Mm-hmm. They're just cognitive perspectives. They're things to attend to. And manners of attention. So, for the 5th slot for you, the first unconscious function would be extroverted thinking, which is giving orders to people, mm-hmm. directing. You can do it, and you do it necessarily, but you just don't think of it as a value. You don't,
Yeah, that's
you
a
don't
good
value
way.
it.
That's a good way to put it. It's something that I've learned that I'm good at, but I didn't. It wasn't something that I valued at all.
Right.
I don't, because I don't think, like, for me, I definitely, I get, and I think a lot of it has to do with the way I was raised. I'm kind of a pretty independent person, and most of my thinking is done independently, so I don't think about, like, needing to, like, lead people, because I feel like my original, like, my first thought is, like, that everybody's kind of, like, doing the same thing I'm doing, and not really. And, like, you know, I don't think of, like, team leadership, because I think everybody's kind of has a general idea of what's going on. But sometimes in, like, project stuff, you really need someone to, like, kind of take charge of it and say, hey, this is the whole project and this is the scope, and kind of breaking that down.
Right. Well, in addition to being able to do it, because it's in your fifth slot, it's known as you are most likely to trust somebody who is a TE Dom, which means if they say, if they're ENTJ or something like that that leads with expert thinking, you tend to find that trustworthy.
Talking with famous people.